All right, seventh grade, we are talking today about different measures of center, and this should be a review from previous years, but just in case it's not, let's take some careful notes. First, we have three basic measures of center, at least three that we're going to talk about at this time. Those three are the mean, the median, and the mode. Now, the mean is typically what we like to call the average, although all three of these can be referred to as averages, but the mean is when we really find our big average number. And to do that, we take all of the numbers in this set and we add them together. So let's say our set has these four numbers in it, M, E, A, and N. To calculate the mean, we would add all four numbers together, and we would find that total, and then we would divide that by how many numbers there are. 1, 2, 3, 4. So we would divide that sum by 4. That's how we calculate the mean. The median is the middle number when the set is ordered. Really important here, we want to put our set in least to greatest order, and that will help us to find that middle number. We'll actually cross off low number, high number, low number, high number, low number, high number, until we find the one that's right in the middle. The mode is the number that occurs the most often. It's the number that we see show up the most. So the mode is usually the easiest one to find, and typically I start with finding the mode first. We have two more terms for this lesson. Those terms are range and outlier. These are not measures of center. These just tend to get taught along with our three measures of center. So these numbers would never really be used to describe a set of data. We would just use them to help us understand the set of data a little bit better. So let's start with the range. The range is the difference between the largest and the smallest numbers. So hopefully you remember that difference tells us that we will be subtracting here. Okay, so we will take our largest number and we'll subtract away the smallest number. That's the range. And the range just tells us how far apart the data is spread out. The other word we want to talk about is an outlier. Outlier is a really important number. An outlier is a number that is far too big or far too small to fit in with the rest of the set. Does every set of data have an outlier? No. But we want to be on the lookout for outliers because they will influence which measure of center we use to describe the set of data. Okay, so we have two examples that we're going to do and then a little wrap-up slide, so let's get right to it. Here's our set of data: 15, 20, 25, 17, 19, 22, 24, 24, 21, 20, 24. So the very first thing we want to do when we're trying to find measures of center or talk about the data in any way, it's really helpful if we start off by first putting the set of data in order from least to greatest. So that's what I'm going to do right here. So there's my set of data in least to greatest order. And now it's easy for us to find things like the mean, the median, and the mode, range, outliers, stuff like that. So I'm actually going to start with the mode. I think the mode is the easiest one to find. It's the number that shows up the most in a set. So when we look at our data here, I see I've got two 20s. So that might be our mode, but let's keep looking. Oh, I have three 24s. That's the number that shows up the most. So that's going to be my mode. My mode is 24. We can also find the range. That's probably the next easiest term to find. The range is when we take the largest number and we subtract the smallest number. So our largest number in the set is 25 and the smallest number is 15. 25 minus 15 is 10. So the range is 10. Next, we're going to get into mean and median. I think we'll do the mean next. Again, you can do these in any order. I'm just trying to do them with which goes fastest to slowest. Mean's a little bit on the slower end, so is median, so we'll do mean next. Mean is when we take all of our numbers and we add them together. Okay, so 15 plus 17 plus 19 plus 20 plus 20 plus 21 plus 22 plus 24 plus 24 plus 24 plus 25. And when we do that, we get the number 231. Yes, I used a calculator for this, and I am totally fine with you using a calculator as well. So 231 is our total of all the numbers. Then we need to count them up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So next we have to take our total and divide by how many there are. And I'm going to use a calculator for this as well. When I do that division, it turns out that I got a perfectly even 21. So my mean is 21. Last but not least, we will talk about the median. To find the median, we're going to cross off our numbers. This is why I saved median for last, because we're going to mark up our set a little bit here. So we're going to cross off the highest number, the lowest number and the highest number. And then the lowest number and the highest number. And lowest, highest, lowest, highest, lowest, highest. And we see that we have one middle number. And that will be our median. So range was pretty easy. Range isn't a measure of center, but we do use it to describe how spread out the data is. We take the largest minus the smallest. That got us 10. The mode was 24. That's the number that showed up the most. The median was our middle number when the set's in order, and we had one middle number, so that's a 21. And our mean was when we added all the numbers together and divided by how many there were, and that was also 21. Talking about outliers here, an outlier, remember that's a number that's far too big or far too small to fit in with the set of data. I would say that we really don't have any outliers in this set. They're all relatively close together, so I'm just going to write the word none. Please don't write the number 0. If you write the number 0, that looks like 0 is an outlier. And I would rather you write the word none or no outliers. Okay, let's do our next example. Our next example, the set is basically the same set that we started off with in the previous example. All the numbers are the same except we have this new addition right here, the number 41. All right, so the first thing we're going to want to do is put the set in least to greatest order, and I have that done for you right here. And now we can recalculate our mean, median, mode, range, and outliers. So I'm going to start off with the mode. That's always my favorite to start with. The mode, we still have these two 20s. We still have those three 24s, so the mode is still 24. So the mode did not change at all in this new set of data. The median, or the range will do next. The range will do next, and the range is the largest minus the smallest. So my largest number now is 41. Smallest is still 15. So 41 minus 15 is 26. A much bigger range this time than we had last time. Mean will be next. The mean, we're going to add all of our numbers together. We know that the last time they all added up to 231, so this time we're just going to add 41 to it. So our new total this time is 272. And we're going to divide by how many numbers there are. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So we're going to divide by 12 this time. Again, I'm going to use my calculator to get that done. So it's 272 divided by 12. And this time I'm getting a decimal, and it is a repeater. So this time I'm getting 22, and my decimal is the 6 that just keeps on repeating. So I'd be okay with us rounding this to the hundredths place. In order to round to the hundredths place, we need to know the number in the thousandths place. The thousandths place is a 6. That tells us to turn this 6 and bump it up to a 7. So my mean is going to be 22 and 67 hundredths. 22 and 67 hundredths. Median. This time our median, same thing, cross them off, low number, high number, low, high, low, high, low, high, low, high. This time we end up with two numbers in the middle. So we don't have one middle number like we did last time. We have two middle numbers. When that happens, we're going to take those two numbers, we're going to add them together. So 21 plus 22, we get 43. And then we divide that number by 2. So add them together and divide by 2. Basically, we're finding the mean of those two numbers. So 43 divided by 2 is 21 and 5/10. Okay? Something we need to note about this set is that now we have outliers. We actually have an outlier, and our outlier is this 41. That number is far too big to fit in with the rest of the set, so 41 is an outlier for this problem. So this time we included an outlier. So what I want to do really quickly is I want to look and see how that outlier affected my three big measures of center. Okay, I want to see how it affected the mean, how it affected the median, how it affected the mode. So over here in black, I'm going to write my original mean from the first slide. My original mean was 21. That was before we had an outlier. My original median was also 21. And my original mode was 24. So these three numbers in black here, these were the mean, the median, and the mode before we had an outlier present. And my numbers underlined in green are my mean, median, mode when I had an outlier present. So let's take a look really quickly. Was the mode affected by an outlier? Not at all. No effect whatsoever. Was the median affected by an outlier? Well, the median went up a little bit. It went up by 0.5, so it didn't really have a big impact from that outlier. But our mean was bumped up quite a bit by the outlier. The mean went from 21 to 22.67. So the mean jumped up almost 2 whole numbers. And that's because the mean is more affected by outliers, because for the mean we put all the numbers together and we're adding that big number and dividing it up really does have an impact on the mean. So what's the point of these two problems? Here it is. When to use each measure of center to describe a set of data. We need to know when each set is appropriate to use to describe a set of data. Or sorry, when each measure is appropriate to use to describe a set of data. So let's talk about the mode first. The mode wasn't really affected by that outlier, but the mode is also really swayed by multiples that show up in a set. So we tend to use the mode when it's category data. That's kind of the primary reason for the mode. And when I say category data, I mean maybe I give a survey out about people's favorite colors, their favorite ice cream flavors, their favorite games, their favorite animals. That data would come back not as a number, but as a category. Maybe you tell me your favorite color is blue or green or yellow or purple. So anytime the data is not number data, the mode is the best way to describe that set of data, the most chosen of those categories. When we do have number data, so both of these two down here we use for number data. The mean is our best choice for number data that has no outliers, okay? Because the mean is what we call unstable. The mean is greatly impacted by the addition of an outlier in your set of data. The median is best used when we have number data with outliers, because the median really wasn't impacted greatly by the addition of an outlier, okay? So this is kind of tricky here. When we're asked, and there's going to be some questions on your homework tonight. When you're asked, hey, which measure of center should we use to describe this set? I want you to take a look at what kind of data we have first. If it's category data, choose the mode. If it's number data, now we have a decision between mean and median. If that number data has an outlier, then we're going to go with the median because it's less impacted by an outlier. If our number data has no outliers, then we'd rather stick with the mean. Okay, so lots to talk about in this lesson. You have a whole set of practice questions in Schoology to complete to review all of this. Let me know if you have any questions. Have a great day.